Good afternoon, our viewers, and I hope you're having an amazing Saturday. My name is Wale Afelumo. It's good to have you again on Safe Space with Wale Afelumo. Thank you for joining us 2 weeks ago, and today we have another exciting episode. Today we'll be talking about reading a dying culture. And before I go into that, let me remind you to like our Facebook page and to ensure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Now, if you are listening on Mixler or watching on Facebook, where we'll be answering questions will be on our YouTube platform, our YouTube channel. So I want to encourage you to be there, to be on YouTube, and then we can have a live engagement there. Thank you for being a part of this. Reading a dying culture. I have my guest in-house, and I'll introduce her to you shortly. But I was reading an article by Pauline Eshue on Al Jazeera, an online newspaper that was written on the 1st of September 2019, and they claim that Nigeria is rated by the World Culture Score Index as one of the countries with the lowest reading culture in the world. Also, available statistics from National Commission for Mass Literacy, Adult and Non-Formal Education shows that 38% of Nigerians are non-literate, as 4 in 10 primary school children cannot read for comprehension. That is a staggering statistic right there. 4 out of 10 children in school, primary school children, cannot read to understand. And I think I remember a time in Nigeria where we had some of the best authors in Africa. I remember reading pace setters and all of that, and that is dying right now. It's been said that if you want to hide something from a black man, or maybe I should say from a Nigerian, put it in a book. And that is so true today that reading culture is on the decline. Now, I know that the issue with reading is a general problem. It cuts across all ages. But I know that where to really get it is starting from childhood, starting imbibing that culture from a very young age. And anybody who is a voracious reader today will tell you they likely started when they were young. And that informs the choice of my guest today. My guest today is Precious Onyenanu, an early year strategist, an educational consultant, and conference trainer with over 11 years of experience. She's the creator of the One Fancy Teacher online reading club and One Fancy Teacher virtual summer camp for children ages 3 to the teen years. I particularly like the name One Fancy Teacher because she is a fanciful woman. She's married to a handsome young man and they have 4 children. Precious Onyenanu, it's good to have you on Safe Space this Saturday afternoon.
Thank you very much, Pastor.
Thanks for being here.
To be here.
Thank you very much. I know that there are several other things you could have been doing. Thank you for being here. How's your family?
Everyone is doing great.
The children.
Thank you, everyone.
You have 4 children?
Yes, Pastor.
My goodness. By the way, I joined her in marriage how many years ago?
Oh, that's 11 years ago.
11 years. My goodness. So good to have you.
Thank you,
So
Pastor.
we're going to go into our discussion. Let me remind you again to ask your questions in the comment box, and we'll be on hand to answer your questions. Now, Precious, why did you choose to be an educator? Why is reading so important to you?
Well, my story is quite different.
Okay.
I never wanted to be an educator.
Wow.
So many reasons, because my mom was a teacher and I used to be a student in her school.
Oh my
so
God.
I was always known as that teacher's child, and I didn't like that. So growing up, I never wanted to be a teacher. I remember going to writing my first JAM. I didn't make it. The second one, I didn't. And the third time, I had to go in for diploma. So after that, the only course that was available was education. And I didn't want to stay home one more year. So I just took it with intention that I was going to change after my second year.
Wow.
But after the second year, I just found that there was no need for me to. And I started loving what I was doing, what I was learning. I started, falling in love with education. And yeah, that was how I became a teacher.
That's amazing.
I wanted to be every other thing, but not a teacher. I wanted to be a lawyer. Wow. I wanted to be an actress. I just wanted to be every other thing.
Wow, you're running away from your calling.
Exactly.
It's so amazing how the disappointments of life sometimes can just direct us to where we ought to be in life.
Exactly.
That's amazing. That's a lesson for somebody right there. That sometimes rejection can actually birth direction for you in life. So why is the reading culture so important to you? Why? Now, I know you're an educator, but then why the bias for reading?
Well, I just noticed a couple of years ago that people were not reading anymore. Children are becoming so distracted with phones, with screen time, with other things other than burying their heads in their books. And then I also realized that you get different kind of children every year in your class. You get to see different kind of children every year in your class. And then when you're comparing, not comparing in terms of ability, but when you're looking at these children, the ones that are being helped at home or the ones that are being read to at home tend to do better than the ones that are neglected or are not being helped at home. And then coming down to my home, I noticed that my children would rather watch TV and not want to read. So it became a thing of worry for me. So I decided to start the reading classes. It started as something I just started with my children.
Wow.
But then I spoke to a friend that said, why don't you just take it a notch higher? Why don't you talk to other parents if they will collaborate with you? Why don't you talk to other teacher friends if they will also collaborate with you? Maybe you just have children that become reading pals. If you make it more engaging and fun for them, you might need to. It will be a way of bringing back the reading culture in our homes, and that was how it started.
Fantastic.
And since then, we haven't looked back at all. So we have parents collaborating. We have teachers. I have teachers in the US. I have teachers in Dubai.
I guess we'll talk a little more about all of what you're doing. You're just shooting rapid fire. That's amazing. Now, what do you advocate? As I'm listening to you, are you talking about reading to pass exams or just reading for pleasure, reading for leisure, or what? What are you propagating? What would you like to see?
Well, for me, I look at reading as a skill that you need to do in order to get vast knowledge. So I don't look at that. They say knowledge is power, and books is full with them. So if you want to know more, why don't you read? So I don't encourage you just reading for academics. I don't encourage you just reading for politics. Why don't you read bits and pieces of everything just to be knowledgeable? So I go for okay. Maybe I will talk about that down the line because I want to talk about what we're doing in our book club.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay,
yeah.
so
wow. So what's the benefit of reading? Start talking about that. Why is the reading culture so important? What's the benefit of
now,
reading?
Research has shown that children that start reading that start reading before they get into preschool tend to do a lot better even before they get into formal education. Now, reading helps children imagination. It stimulates their imagination. It helps them to understand the world around them even before they get to school. And it is also research has also shown that before children start noticing the prints on the pages, they start understanding pictures, colors, sounds, knowledge, language. Okay, they start understanding that. And what that does to them is that it develops their listening skills, their speaking skills, and then gets them prepared for writing skills. So who wouldn't want this to be developed in their kids? And then there are essential skills that you also need to learn as a parent or a teacher that wants to teach young readers. Okay. First, you look at the 5 of them. There are 5 major ones. First, you look at the phonemic awareness.
Phonemic
awareness.
Phonemic.
I see, yes, phonemic awareness. This one talks about the sound, the language in spoken words. Then the second one is phonics, being able to connect sound and letters. And then the third one is vocabulary. The third one is vocabulary. You want your children to be able to amass an amount of words to be able to communicate vocabulary. Before they get into school, so they'll be able to communicate with everyone. And for that, I always encourage parents to start by teaching their children sight words. Sight words are those high frequency words we see in our storybooks, in our textbooks. So I always encourage parents as early as possible. Start to teach your children.
This sight word, what do you
words.
How do you spell
like
that?
Is
sight. Okay, sight.
Okay,
S-I-G-H-T.
Yes.
Okay.
Like the high frequency words you see in your storybooks, like me, you, come, is, and so on. And then the fourth one is reading comprehension. You want your children to be able to understand and understand what they have read, and also be able to explain whatever it is they have read in their books. And then the fifth one is fluency. That's oral reading. You want your children to be able to read the words accurately and also with speed. So if you have this, if your children are well grounded with these skills, they will excel in reading.
Wow. Okay, you're really going ahead, and it's fine. It's fine. Just relax, and everything will all come together. Now, as I was listening to you, I'm thinking, By the way, repeat those 5 things. They just in summary so that people
Phonemic awareness.
Tell them, yeah. Yes.
The first one is phonemic awareness.
Uh-huh.
You have phonics.
Mhm.
You have vocabulary.
Mhm.
You have reading comprehension, and the last one is fluency.
Awesome. So I'm just going to ask this question off my head. Is being able to read well hereditary? Because it's like it doesn't come naturally to some of us.
It's a skill.
So it's not inborn. Do you think it is?
You know,
because I look at my children, for example, and so maybe it's also gender. I don't know. So, and I know they'll be watching this. So the boys, it's almost like it doesn't come naturally. Now, one of them, when he sees a particular kind of novel, he does. My daughter is such that if you say go and sleep, in fact, when you go to her room and she's asleep, unfold her cover cloth, you see there's a book that she was with and she slept off reading, or she had a touch reading. She's read a book. I give her money for reading something because there was a book she read. I said I can't read this book. That book must have maybe close to 500 pages. She read it in how many days? Wow. You know, so sometimes like I don't know which brain this child has. I don't even think it is mine. So I'm wondering, is it hereditary? Now I know the mother likes to read, but then so
maybe it's hereditary.
So maybe
there's
a bit
from
of
the
that.
mommy. Maybe it's from that, and then sometimes you need to actually motivate these children to read. So sometimes it's a skill that you need to learn, and it happens over time. It's not something that just comes, boom.
So maybe we'll talk a little about how do we acquire that skill and learn that skill. Now, so we're talking about reading is a dying culture. Do you agree to that assumption that it's dying?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, because there is so much contexting with our children's ability to read.
I was going to ask you, why do you think it's a dying culture?
There's a whole lot contesting with the ability to read, because now you have the smartphones, you have the screen time, you have games, you have a lot. In fact, they would rather, in this fast-paced world, they would rather want to be on those gadgets or devices than pick a book and read. They would rather do that. But what I always advise is, parents, if you have issues with that at home, what you can do is just try as much as possible to look for what their interest is. What do they love? Maybe maybe they love sports, they love entertainment, whatever it is. They have a preference. Maybe they have their maybe sportman that they love. Or you can try as much as possible to get them to read something in line with about those people, or in line with what they love, and then start it gradually. It's a process. It's a skill. It progresses. So you can start with 5 minutes a day, and then you graduate to 10 minutes, then 15 minutes, and then 20 minutes. Before you know it, something just sparkles, because it stimulates their imagination, and then they'll just begin to want to love to read.
Okay, because sometimes we have a wide range of audience, and we don't know where this will go to. And I also like when I come on Safe Space that we are speaking to social issues. That's really what this is about, that we just deal with issues that affect us as a community, a society of people. Now, I think we've agreed to the assumption that the reading culture is dying. How do you think that has affected our society, or will affect our society?
Well, what we have now, you have a lot of issues with children not wanting to involve in things that has to do with academics. And then you have people that are graduating from university but can't structure a complete sentence or can't even write a CV that is worthy, and you begin to worry. That alone is a signal. It's a very, very bad signal in terms of our children and our society, because these children are graduating and coming into the society to become politicians, business women,
sometimes even become teachers.
That's where I was going as well. Sometimes even become teachers. So there's a problem already. So we need to find a way to fix it, from home, the church, the school, and the government. Everybody must collaborate to find a way to bridge this gap.
You've already answered my next question, which was going to be, so who's going to help to restore this reading culture? So you started talking about
everyone,
parents.
The home, the parents. Find out time, make out time for your children. Just that we have different levels of parents, different range. We have some that think, oh, it's not important, when they get to school they read. That's a very bad assumption, because the truth is you are your first your child's first teacher. The home is the first place where the child should learn all those basics before they even come to school. So leaving it to the teacher you're actually depriving the child a whole lot. And then we have parents that want to, but they don't know how to. Thank God, Google is there. Google is your friend. You can actually, type and Google something, find out how you can help your child at your own time. And then we have people that really want to, but they don't have the time. That's why we're here. We can help you.
Yeah,
we can help
I
you
agree.
engage and engage your child and amuse your child with age-appropriate books. And we also have the government. We really do not have well-equipped libraries where you can actually access old and new information if you want to at your disposal. We don't have. I remember driving through the library somewhere in Goreshi 2 or so. I was disappointed. The place it was so noisy. There's market beside it, and I was wondering to myself, how would people concentrate in this kind of environment to read? How will they comprehend what they're even reading? How is it even safe? I began to wonder. I began to think: do they even have facilities? How updated are they? Although I didn't enter, but that was what just kept running through my mind.
Talking about the library, I saw something, maybe because I was going to teach this. I don't know why I ran into that on Twitter. Maybe because I was going to talk about this. And somebody had posted in pictures, had a picture of the Central Mosque, said completed 1980 or 1990, something I can't remember. The picture of the Ecumenical Center, the National Church, completed 2005. And then there's a picture of the National Library headquarters that's been in construction since 2004. And is not completed yet. And the person said that really shows us where our priority lies as a nation. And you began to talk about, maybe you should explore that a little, and we can do that together. Some of the downside, the effect of this on the larger society, what our future looks like if this trend of not reading, continues. You began to say that we're having some of them become teachers, they become our politicians. So we have people leading us who may not, because you said earlier that reading helps you to travel in your imagination, makes you to be, just gives you exposes you to different ideas, concepts. You're able to conceptualize things.
Your imagination.
Yes, stimulates your imagination.
Yes, it makes you to understand everything around the world.
Yes, everything around you and around the world. So if we begin to have people who don't read become our leaders, become our teachers, become our politicians, we have a problem, really.
Definitely.
Yes, we'll always be behind. We'll always be doing catch up, with what's happening in the world. So for me, what we are talking about today is really, really very important. Now, you began to talk about it. Now, on a very practical note, how early can you begin to introduce a child to reading?
As early as infancy.
When you say infancy,
I mean, as early as when the child is in their mother's womb.
For real?
Exactly, yes.
Wow.
Just start reading to your child while they're in your tummy. Just start reading. You never can tell. What you do is that you're just storing those vocabularies. You're just storing those skills while they are there. And when they come out, boom, the love for it began. Because what they do is, once you start early, it stays with them. Once you start early, what you're doing is developing those skills, even without knowing. They're storing it somewhere to be used in the later future. So that's why you see sometimes, like for example, I saw something on social media. I saw a child still wearing diaper, but he was able to decode, the child was decoding words like can, 3-letter words with diaper. The father just flashes just shows the flashcards, and the child is reading. I was amazed. It was, and for me, I think it's something that has been done over time. I'm sure the parents have been, teaching this child to decode those words. Maybe when the child was still, when the child was still cooing and in those baby stages. So I think if you start very early, you're setting your child to excel in the future.
So if you can't read as a parent, that's why you're there, because there are also parents who are not. Yeah, so if we say the culture is dying, there are chances that there are parents today who can't read themselves.
You can engage a teacher, you can engage someone. You can't, but you can.
Yeah.
You can do something. There's something you can do. You have neighbors, you have siblings.
I think you should talk to parents like that.
Okay, Now, for parents that can't read, but you want your child to read, you can engage someone to help you. That's why we're here.
So when you say that, I'm sorry to interrupt, that's beyond school?
That's beyond school,
Okay,
yes.
so yeah.
Of course, school will do their part. You too, you have to also do your part.
Yeah.
You can collaborate with neighbors, people that can read. You can get, teachers. You can get cousins. You can get aunties that can help you do this around your neighborhood.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I've met Precious Onyenanu, an educator and passionate about reading. This is Safe Space with Pastor Wale Afelumo. Remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and put in your questions. We'll be on hand to answer your questions. Now, Precious, there are children with dyslexia, that is reading disability, and anytime I look at this now as an older person, and I'm like, maybe I was suffering for this, suffering with this as a young child. Because in those days, your parents just beat you. They just beat the dyslexia out of you. So if a child is dyslexic and has issues with reading, how do you surmount that? Is there a way to help people like that to read?
Pastor, the truth is there is hope for everyone.
Okay.
Thank God for the awareness now.
Okay.
There is more awareness about children living with disabilities, and with the help of special needs teachers, special needs centers, like the school, for example, the school where I work is an inclusive. We run the inclusive education, so we have children that live with disabilities come to our school. They're in our classes. I've had the opportunity of working with two of these children.
Wow.
So what we do is some of them, the parents do not know, or sometimes they claim not to know. And then what we do is the first week of school, you begin to watch your children, and then if you find any abnormalities,
which will be like what will be the pointers for you that this child may be dyslexic?
Now, sometimes when you give them, maybe you give them flashcards, some might start reading it the other way, maybe from right to left instead of left to right, the right way. And
maybe the Arabic way.
Not in this case, when the child is not a Muslim, not in this case. And then sometimes they begin to read words like was as saw. Wow. So at that point, there's a pointer here that's like the problem. So what you just do, what I do is you call in the special needs teacher that comes to evaluate the child. Most times, when there's a certainty, the next move is to get the parents involved. You get the parents to come in because they need to pay for evaluation and then diagnosis before they start working with the children. So there's hope. There are ways that they help children with living with dyslexia to read. There's a model called the Wilson model.
Okay.
There's another one called the PAF model, something about academics failure. I can't remember the first one. So
those are things models you can Google as parents to check.
Yeah, so there are models that you can use to help your children. And now there's collaboration. There are parents that have children living with this disability. They come together to find a way to help their children. So there's help.
So you'll say reading, everybody can read. Ultimately,
everybody can read if you have the time. If you can make out the time, if you can push yourself a little bit harder, and if you can start, there's no right, there's no.
Do you ever get too old to learn? Because this thing we are saying, I know there are also be people in their teen years, for whatever reason, maybe they didn't have the opportunity while growing up, or they were dyslexic too. They flunked a number of classes, and their parents just say, "See, reading is not for you. Go and learn how to." Paint or trade or something, and the person is in their teen years, in their early 20s, early 30s, and they're like, I beg, can I still read? And why should such a person even want to read? Because some people say, especially in my Yoruba people will say, Owo ni mo fẹ́ kà mi ò fẹ́ kà owó, mo fẹ́ kà ìwé. Basically, I'm not. Reading in Yoruba is like counting. So it's like, I'm not counting books again. I want to be counting money at this stage. So why should such a person want to read, and how can is there hope for them?
So the truth is there is hope for everybody.
Yeah.
There is hope for everybody. Now, it will shock you. I had a friend that had a nanny in the house. The nanny she was 19 years old when she came to the house, and she couldn't read. She could only...
at 19?
At 19, yes. Yeah. She could only converse in Yoruba. Now, her mother was an educationist at that time. So what the mother did was to take her back to primary 1.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
I'm sure they made her the class captain. At that age, you have to be.
So she started from primary 1.
Wow.
She started from primary 1. She finished primary school. And then the mother went ahead to put her in secondary school. She finished secondary school.
Wow.
Yes. And then she graduated from the university.
For real?
As we speak, she's in the UK with her husband and children. Yes.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So there is hope for everybody.
Why should somebody still pursue that and not, why I'm 35, I'm 40, why should I still want to?
Because you want to be better.
Okay.
You want more knowledge. There's a whole lot. You want to be able to teach your children as well.
Yeah.
So why don't you teach? Why
want
don't
to be
you
able
learn?
to engage,
You want to be able to engage
at a
with
higher
people.
level in conversations and all of that.
You want to be able to, converse with people. You want to be able to read just the newspaper.
Yeah.
Because most times I see people, I see old men, young men standing by a newspaper stand and reading. I'm wondering, as in, is something really going? As in, are they really understanding? But yes, they are. You want to be able to do that. I see bike men stop to read.
Read newspaper.
So everybody, you would want
awareness.
to. Awareness. You want to. So why not if you have the opportunity to? And now with the help of adult education, with the help of e-learning, we have e-libraries, e-learning, we have Google. You can actually help yourself. You can start with the basics. You can start with just phonemic awareness. You can start with phonics, learning the single sound. Oh, the A says ah. You can start with that and then learn the sound, break it down to vowels and consonants, and then you go to blends, and then maybe you graduate from stringing the simple sentences together.
As I'm listening to it, I want to enroll myself.
And then stringing simple sentences together.
Wow.
Reading. You can start with maybe Queen Primer, the Queen Primer 1 and 2, and then move to. You can graduate to brighter grammar. So there's a lot. You can actually help yourself. You can teach yourself to read.
Wow. Would you consider listening to audiobooks as reading? As in, we are going to the adult stage now. Would you consider that?
Pastor, there are different types of reading. You have the eye reading, you have the ear reading, and then you have the finger reading.
That's Braille?
Braille, yes, that's the finger reading. And then the ear reading is your audiobooks. You're reading, you're imagining, you're reading. It's still it's a form of reading.
To stimulate your brain, taking you places, your imagination.
Exactly. So it's still reading, and then you also feel that empathy, maybe with the character in the story, or so it's still reading. And then the eye reading, of course, the eye reading, of course. So
which is the best? Which should we strive for the most?
Occupy yourself at any time with all sorts. I have audiobooks in my phone. I have books by my bedside. I always have some book in my. I always have books in my handbag. I have books everywhere. I just have books everywhere. Even for my children, I always tell them, once we get into the car, give me your tabs, and then everybody pick something to read.
Wow.
Yes, you pick something to read. Just get yourself engaged and amused with something worthy.
I think we really need to begin to reduce the screen time of our children.
It's killing our children. It is killing our children because the TV just talks to you. You don't give back. But books talk to you and you can talk back. You can talk back to the book. But I don't know. And these days, we have parents that don't really care. What they do is, he's disturbing or she's disturbing. Please go and get your tab. Or go and watch TV. You're not doing the child any good. You're harming that child. You can actually spend 20 minutes a day. It goes a long way. It can change your child's reading reading habits. It can help your child a lot to develop in that skill. So why don't you try as much as possible to just devote just 20 minutes? Like now in my home, what we do is every Saturday we read our Bibles together. And then sometimes we choose a particular story to read together. So my husband reads, and then I take over, I read, my son reads, and then it goes round. And then my little child that is 2 years old will say, Mom, I want to read. And the younger will say, no, you can't. I say, no, don't tell her she can't read. Please give her to read. And then she just mumbles something, and just trying to read something and mumbles and mumbles.
But that habit is being
exactly. Something is happening, but they don't know. I know because I've read, I know because I've researched and I know. So what I do is I'll just allow her to read, and I go, okay, if there are pictures in the book, I go, oh, what is it? What did you say? She says the monkey. I say, fantastic, that's the monkey.
Wow.
And where's the monkey? What's the monkey doing? I'm helping her. I'm also developing her vocabulary without any of the other ones understanding what I'm doing.
Wow.
So what I do, I just involve everybody. So you can actually do group reading if you want to as a family.
So enlighten me on this. So I have been with some teenagers and let me put it like this. I've seen people who can speak very well, like you're speaking now. Speak, the diction is awesome, everything is in place, on point, and then you get them to write, and you are looking, the spelling is horrible, the tenses, the construction. What is that? What may be responsible?
Because those 5 skills I spoke about were not fully developed.
Okay.
You talk about it's not just about speaking, what about listening? Because some people speak so well, but they are not good listeners.
Okay.
Some listen very well, they're not good writers. And these are all skills that you need to learn. You need to be, that needs to be developed. So you need to find as much as possible. You need to find way to develop these skills in your children as early as possible. And you have to also practice. It's a process. These skills they're all processes that you need to follow. It's a process. It doesn't just come just like that. Pastor Wale, the way you were writing 20 years ago is not the way you write now. Something has changed. You're more informed. You're more knowledgeable. You're more mature. So everything, it changes.
So I had always thought of, except that I'm listening to you now and hearing these 5 things that I also have to learn. I've always thought, so when I had an encounter, this was my conclusion that, okay, this is the generation that they only hear it on TV, watch it on TV. So they know how it is said, how it is pronounced, but they don't know how it is spelled because they don't read. Could that also be, so I hear exacerbate every time, and eventually I know how it is said. But because I think that reading also helps you to see how a word is written, how things are, so that could also be.
Yes, that could also be a problem because, like for us in one party teacher online reading club, what we do, we just don't pick a book and read. We have themes, so that has also helped us a lot where we are dealing with children. We have themes. Maybe today we're talking about optimism. Oh, we're looking at the word optimism. We're looking at every part of the word optimism. How is it used? Is it now is used as an adjective? How is it being used? And then you're looking at different ways, the antonyms, the synonyms. How is it used? And then you begin to use it for yourself. You begin to find a way to apply that word.
So interact with that word,
and then get to read about people that were maybe optimistic in what they're doing or in life. And then we also had a book that talked about worrying, children worrying because of COVID-19. We read that to the younger children. And you could just see the spark, the imagination. They began to tell us, oh, my mommy was worrying the other day. She was even crying. So I'm going to tell my mom not to worry again. Meanwhile, these children are yet to understand how to spell these words, but they already know it. So by the time they are growing and they see the word worry, it's an opportunity for them to go back and learn the words. So everything is a process. And then for the older ones, we're looking at the life of Helen Keller, a girl that was blind and deaf at the same time. So we're looking at resilience. So everybody looking at the word resilience. What is it about? What is this? So what we do in our reading group is that we also try as much as to do spelling words. So we spell words. The older ones go home with maybe 10 to 16 words every week, and then the younger ones deal with 5 words. And then and most times for the younger ones, you use sight words, those high frequency words that they will always see in their books because we encourage them to read. So and if they
get to write,
you get to write as well. Yeah, so you're also preparing them to write. If they
I was telling my son recently, I saw him, he was reading, of course, for exams, and he wasn't writing, and I said that reading and writing just helps your comprehension.
Exactly.
It helps your comprehension. It increases your ability to retain what you have read. It's good to know that you are doing that.
And even the younger ones, they also draw.
Oh, wow.
Because they all play. These are the things that help the children to develop. Wow. So we're not just reading because we want to read. No. We are reading. We're reading intentionally. We're being intentional in what we're teaching the children.
Can you still rekindle the desire to read, the passion to read in an older child, a teenager who has been glued to Xbox 360, PlayStation 4 all their lives and all of that, and they only just read to survive, to pass from one class to the other? What would you advise?
Yes, the answer is yes.
How do you go about that?
Now, for those kind of children, you can start with comic books.
Okay, I was going to ask. So, will comics count for reading? Okay.
In comics, you find vocabulary.
Yes.
In comics, you find word structure. Yeah. Yes, they can. They can. They even help reluctant children.
The pictures too also help.
Yeah, they help. They even help reluctant children to become voracious readers. See, you can. It's a very good way to start. Start with something that they always want to look at.
Can you recommend some comics? Can you remember any?
I can't remember right now. I can't remember right now.
Asterix and Obelix.
So comics always help them to do inferentials. They want to look at the meaning through the pictures they see and all. So yes.
Well, fantastic. It's been an exciting experience here on set, and I'm sure you're feeling the energy in the room right there in your house. This is Safe Space with Pastor Wale Afelumo and with Precious Oyenanu, the creator of One Fancy Teacher online reading club. So you can write your questions there. We'll be on hand to answer you. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the Facebook page. Okay. Now, would you say our education sector is contributing to the decline in reading?
Well, Pastor, if we have well-equipped libraries in our public schools, and then in maybe our suburbs, and then in strategic points where the children can actually go and access old and new information, I would say no. But we don't have them. So that means they are contributing to what is happening to our society today. I remember in 2015 when I went to the US, we went shopping. My sister-in-law and I were shopping, and at some point I was so tired because I was heavy at that time. I was so tired, and I told her I couldn't move anymore. That I needed to sit somewhere and wait for her. And she said, "Oh, there's a library. There's a free library here in a mall, well-equipped library in a mall." I remember Wiregrass. So I went in there. And it was conducive.
That means accessing books, accessing information is very easy.
It's very easy.
So like a reading spot in Wuse Market.
I'm telling you, like a reading spot in Wuse Market, like a reading spot close to maybe close to those vendors, those newspaper vendors. Yeah. Instead of having that thing, you can make the government can actually do something conducive for people to go.
So when people say government, I always like us to look at the camera so that we talk about things like that. Yeah, seriously.
So the government can actually build something conducive, something, a structure that is well equipped. They can build libraries that is well equipped for people to be able to go in, access information and then read. So that's the way. But here we don't really have that. That means they are also contributing to what is happening to our society today.
Wow. Teachers are underpaid.
Well, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Educational sector is underfunded.
Yes.
In our country.
And
even just like what you said now. What would you like to see our government do with regards to that? As you mentioned, public school, I at least have been privileged to go to a number. And if you're a Nigerian and your child is in a private school, you just don't know. You don't know. You have been shielded from the other world.
Exactly.
You have been totally shielded from the other world.
Exactly.
I've been to public schools where they don't even have windows, they don't have fans in the class, they don't have chairs.
What about chairs?
So
writing materials,
what about libraries then? So this sector is underfunded, and it just really looks like we just don't know the import of this of education, of reading as a nation, and I really worry about tomorrow, and I'm hoping that somebody in government is listening to us today. So what would you like to see government do? We're looking at libraries, we're looking at funding that sector. And when I say library, we're not just talking about stocking a library with math textbook or physics textbook. We're talking about, biographies, autobiographies, comics, all of those things. Yeah.
Well, for me, my advice to the government would be for them to build and equip libraries in our suburbs, in our public schools, in strategic points where people can actually access information and also read, just to bring back the reading culture in our children. Because we don't want our children not to be able to stand against their counterparts. We want our children want to see well-grown children, well-rounded children, holistic children that are complete in all ramifications. So government, my suggestion and plea is for you to please help us build standardized libraries for our children, especially the children in the public schools, because I know that the private schools have libraries well equipped. They even have e-libraries now. They have e-libraries in some private schools. So if the government can also assist them, why not? Why not? Because I remember that there was a drive that was going on into school where I work, and then we had to put boxes, and then there were tags on them. Drop a book. So whenever you're coming in the morning and you have, you are led to, people drop books.
That was the next thing I was going to say. So we've spoken to the government. We also have an initiative in our church. We called it Hope, helping orphans and the poor with education. And one of the things I was happy with is that the school we support, they came to us one day and they said, you know what, yeah, we give money, we adopt some children, pay they are orphans, so we are paying the school fees of a number of them. But the school came once and they said, we want books, not texts, but we want books, these children to just be able to read books. Yeah. So I wanted to also speak to the average Nigerian, to parents, because like one of the, okay, so we're in Jahi right now, Kado Jahi. And just behind all these beautiful buildings is a school that you'll be like, what, in this same community, you know, just like a slum, really. So I wanted to also speak to parents. Can parents come together in communities and donate books to those schools?
Well, yes, parents, there's a lot you can do.
Nigerians, anybody at all.
Anybody at all.
Yes.
Because I remember in the U.S. sometime, I remember that was 2015. I remember going for shopping. I went to not a thrift store. I went for what is it called now? Going to buy fairly used things. What's it called again? I can't remember.
Well, second-hand stores, used store, whatever.
Stores. And then what caught my attention was books. I just bought books. I just bought garage sales. Yeah, garage sales. I went for garage sales, and what I bought I just bought books. And those books, some of my children are still using them. Some of them I had to give out. So if you can, why not donate books? People pass down books to people. So why don't you, if you have books that your children are not using anymore, you can afford, donating books for people. Why not get books for people living around? You can start with your community. You can even start with your neighbor's child. You can just start with anyone. You can start with your gate man's child. You can start with anybody, because everybody needs this skill.
Fantastic. As you said, you can start in your community and with your gate man's child. That is very fantastic. But so that also means that people can actually create. If you're a graduate, you don't have a job yet, or even if you do, or you're in school, or this time that school has been on break, you actually can gather some children in your neighborhood and get a novel, a book. Well, maybe not a novel, a storybook.
A storybook, and then space them out.
Yes, space them out and begin to read to this.
That's
create the interest in the children.
Yes, that's creativity and part of the teachers, because everything we're doing right now on One Fancy Teacher. Was born out of COVID-19. Was born out of COVID-19. I'm a teacher, and why do I see it when I actually know what to do? So that was how it all came about. Wow. And then I have support from other teachers as well, other like minds as well. I have a teacher from Lagos, and then I have someone again from Dubai that will say, oh, fine, why not? But let's do it together. So what we do every Saturday, everybody just logs in on Zoom, and then we teach these children. What we do, we just have sessions where, okay, this one is taking this age, this one is taking this age, and then we're doing it. We're not charging so much, but at least it can afford, it can pay for our data, because it's not about us now. You can pay for data. It's not about us.
It's about the investment.
It's not about the investment we're giving to these children. And why we decided to peg something on it, so that Nigerians, something that is free is worthless. So we just decided to peg a little something on it, so that parents will take it seriously and also collaborate with us.
And know the worth and the value of it.
Exactly. So teachers, there's a lot you can do. Gather those children. Even you can even ask their mother you can even ask their parents to drop 100 naira, or even to 200 naira. You can go to Wuse Market. There's somewhere they sell books under the tree somewhere. Someone sells book 100 naira. You can pick up those books. You can even go out door to door to ask for used books, books that they can actually give you. So there's a lot to do. You just have to be creative about these things. There's a lot to do.
You need to create an educated society.
Exactly.
If 4 out of 10 primary school children can't read to comprehend,
that's a problem.
It's a major problem, and it is our responsibility, all of us, to do something about that.
Our collective effort.
Now, yes, reading on social media. Some of us wake up in the morning and we're like, before you know it, an hour has gone. People can't pick a book to read. We're on social media. Before you know, you've seen somebody or wedding pictures. Somebody's writing. Somebody's writing gossip. Yeah, that's and all of those things. Will you consider that reading? Is it helpful?
Well, it depends on where you are. When you're on the street of Instagram, what are you doing there? When you're on the street of Twitter, what are you doing? Your Facebook, what are you doing? Because I know there are blogs that actually make sense. It depends on what you're looking for. If it's gossip, it does not count as reading. Although sometimes you read.
What I'm even saying that Precious is, I'm looking at, I stay there sometimes, I'm reading, and there's a big temptation to correct somebody's English. And if that's where somebody is feeding from, I'm really wondering, would you encourage that as where somebody solely learns or solely reads from, or people should go beyond that and still get into books, into reliable sources, newspapers, and all of that?
you can't take away what the book does to you and what the screen does to you. They are two different things.
Okay.
So even if you have to stop by on the streets of Instagram and all those social medias, I think you should also find time to read your books. That's what I feel, because it's different. The books talk to you. You begin to make decisions while reading. Or sometimes when you read that, you're only reading for fun, gossip. There's something. Except you are following a particular kind of people that maybe politics, football. That's a whole lot. Except you're intentionally doing it for a particular purpose. But if it's just to get information, those gossip like BB Niger and all those kind of information, you still need to go back.
Okay, I'm looking at the intellectual side of it and the learning. Okay, so you're talking about the learning, getting information, but I'm talking about, because for me, sometimes one of the reasons I like to read, like you said earlier, is to also build your vocabulary, get familiar with words, know how to construct words, when to use an adjective, what is the best pronoun to use in a particular sentence and all of those. And so I'm on Twitter. Somebody may have written even like a full paragraph or 2 paragraphs of information, but I'm looking at the tenses, the spellings, and all of those. And if that's where somebody perpetually goes to, don't you think, garbage in,
garbage out.
Yes, because now the person will just take that as how certain words are written.
And we also use it like that.
Yes, and we also use it like that. And I also noticed that sometimes when you try to correct people, then everybody comes on you and says, what is it? Is it English? English is not a first language.
To shame you.
Yes, and I'm like, we really have a major problem.
We have because, is this thing we're talking about culture. Now everybody sees the unusual as normal. So you're trying to correct someone, not from the place of
I'm better than you.
I'm better than you kind
to
of
put
thing.
You down,
But it's just because just double check, proofread, double check. You could have done it, I mean, we learn from each other, but we have, because the culture is dying. People are becoming so myopic in their thinking. People don't want to look at excellence anymore.
Mediocrity
is so celebrated now. So nobody's even looking at, I need to do it well. I need to check it again. So that's why you have those kind of things. And like I will always suggest, make sure you have your hardcover book. Going to the street of Instagram and reading all those things cannot make up for you. It just can't make up for you. It can only give you maybe 1%. But every other thing, you need it here.
I also noticed people don't use dictionaries again.
Okay.
What do you say? What do you think it's? For me, I just see somebody and I'm like, even my children sometimes they are watching the TV and I'm like, so I'm seated there and they are saying something. Like there was a day they were watching an animation and they were using the word bomber shoot. Give me the bomber shoot. It was a song. And I was like, what does a bomber shoot mean? I didn't know it up until then too. And none of us knew. But they were ready to go on and watch till the end. But
they always use the word without knowing the meaning.
Yes, and for me, one of the things I say to them, get a dictionary, check the word, because for me, that's when comprehension has taken place. If somebody says, I want to go and get a bomber shoot, I've heard what he said, but I've not understood what he has said. Do you understand? So where is the place of getting, is that because I think that's also a dying culture? Is it necessary? Is it good? What would you say?
It is necessary. It is good. These are those good old, about the good old days when our parents would always chase us to. In fact, you always have your dictionary. You must always read now. When you have parents like mine, you always read. They want to catch you reading, not watching TV. Now, my son, I remember we had a family reading like we do every Saturday, and he came. I think we were reading something, and he after reading the sentence, he was like, "Mama, what word is this?" I'm like, read it again, try to make sense of what the narrator was trying to say. He read it again and said, but this word is kind of big. I said, okay, go and get a dictionary. He said, but tell me now. I said, no, I'm not going to tell. Get your dictionary. So he got the dictionary. He checked it by himself. What I was trying to do is to help him to create his own learning experience. Create a learning experience, and don't always want somebody to tell. If I regurgitate, if I tell you, you regurgitate. The learning has not taken place fully. So what I did was refer him back to the dictionary, which he did, and it was easier. That word stuck, and then the spelling as well is there. He's learning the usage as well. He's also learning. He also went further to learn synonyms, antonyms. It can be used like this. This you can use it.
Will give you examples.
It will explicitly give you what the word is talking about. So parents, I think it all lies on the shoulders of the parents and then the school as well. You have to always refer them back. Don't always be tempted to just tell and walk past.
So I also want to speak to some of us adults too. I find it almost unbelievable, appalling, almost unforgivable to see somebody who does not have a dictionary on their phone. You have an iPad, you have a phone, and none of them has a dictionary. And I'm like, you should learn new words. There's hardly a day I don't check the dictionary to learn something. And that's how you improve your power for comprehension and the ability to read and to speak even very well, or better.
To write.
Yes, and to write too. We're going to be rounding up very shortly. You've been on Safe Space with Pastor Wale Afelumo and with Precious Oyenanu, creator of the One Fancy Teacher Online Reading Club. It's been an amazing time. You can ask your questions, we'll answer. Just put them in the comment section. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like the Facebook page, and Precious, tell us about One Fancy Teacher Reading Club. What's the big dream? What's the vision? What do you guys hope to achieve? And what do you guys do?
Okay, well, our vision is simple.
Yeah.
It's just to engage our children and amuse them with age-appropriate books while getting them to become voracious readers in the future. So,
say that again.
I said our vision is very simple. It's to engage our children. Yes, engage and amuse them. Yes, with age-appropriate books.
With age-appropriate
books, while making them, helping them become voracious readers.
Helping them to become voracious readers.
Yeah. So that's basically what we do. And then we have our sessions every Saturday. We have the younger ones.
I think you should tell people. I want them to know about what you do.
Okay, so we have 4 sessions every Saturday. Yeah. The younger ones, that's the explorers. What we do is basically we're just taking them through phonemic awareness. So we're doing sound, we're doing identification of language, and then in words, and then what we do. And at the end, we also give them homework. It could just be maybe just draw something that begins with maybe a particular thing. Maybe it could be an animal, it could be fruit, it could be just anything. It could be human beings, anything at all. And then we also read to them because we also want them to develop their listening skills. And then the older ones, we have where we read, we just take it a little bit further. We take more vocabulary, and then we have them talk about sight words and then how they are being used, and then make them read books and identify those words that they have seen or we have thought. And then for the older ones, we look at different genres of books. We look at the author's point of view. We look at illustrators. We look at the blurb. We look at the what? Blurb at the back. BLURP.
The blurb.
Yeah, blurb.
What does that mean?
The one, when you pick a book, at the back of the book, the writer tells you everything about the book. Just that little summary is called the blurb. Yes.
I learned something new today.
So we take them to look at the blurb as well, and then before they go into the book, because sometimes people read but they don't comprehend. They read and they don't understand. So by doing that, we're also helping them to enhance their memory, their memorization. Yeah. So at the end, they'll be able to tell you, oh, the topic, this was the title, this was the character, this was my favorite, this was. So they'll be able to explain and communicate with you or tell you what they understood about the book. So that's what we do in general. And then we also make sure that we use themes for each week. So this week, we'll come talking about worrying, we'll come talking about resilience, we'll come talking about optimism, we'll come just talking about, looking at the side of life in different levels according to their ages. So basically that's what we do.
Wow, what have been your exciting experiences or success stories as you look at this? Have there been miracles with certain children that you've had? Yeah.
There has been amazing testimonies from the children themselves and then from the parents. Now, when we first started, we only started with age 4 to 6, and now we have 2 to 3, age 2 to 3. Wow. We have 4 to 6. Wow. They're usually they are the largest, so we have them in 2 groups, and then we have the teenagers. And this all came from the testimonials from the parents because they have seen improvement in the other children, and then I was being pressured to start up the younger ones and then the teenagers group. Wow. And it has been an amazing journey for our children. So they also have the older ones also have sessions where they interact outside the classroom. So they have their Google Classroom where they turn in their homework.
Their Google Classroom.
Yes, yes, we have a Google Classroom where they have the counselor. The counselor is like the teacher. So we have the counselor that helps the children. So they turn in their homework. They talk about what they have read. Talk about something new, and then sometimes they even go ahead to read. They finish the book before they come to class. So it's been an amazing experience for a lot of homes because it was difficult getting the older children to read. Even getting the younger ones to concentrate was a problem. But now with what we do, making it as exciting as possible, it's now helping our children to want to read more.
So what gives you the kick? What's your What's your sense of reward? Where do you draw that from?
The fact that I'm seeing a transformation is what gives me the joy to want to do more. It's not even about the money. Like I said, we're only charging a little token. But the fact that I am getting children from the US, I have children from the US.
I was going to ask that. Is it restricted to?
No, it's everywhere. You can
local
come
government?
No. We are going international.
Okay,
so I have
it's
children.
online.
It's online. It's on Zoom every Saturday. We have our sessions on Zoom every Saturday, and then they turn in their homework either on WhatsApp or the other ones on Google Classroom.
So tell us some of your spread. What countries do you have people come from?
We have children from the US. We have from Dubai. We have from Canada, and then we have all over Nigeria. We have children all over.
Wow, fantastic.
We have Muslims in our midst.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, you're also organizing a virtual summer camp right now. Is it closed? Can people still join? For how long is it lasting?
We've gone 3 weeks already. So
we've gone 3 weeks
already. And
so is that going to be like an annual feature?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
it has come to stay.
Tell us what you do there.
For the summer camp, we have a whole lot, because for the summer camp, we're not doing much of reading or math. What we're doing is just to teach our children different skills, presentation skills. So we have our children public speaking, we have our children talking about presentation, we'll have our children talking about talents, we'll have our children talking about culture, all those things that people neglect. So we have them bring it, come into play. And then we have 3 groups now. They've been divided into 3 groups. We have the advocacy group. We have, so they're advocating for something. I can't remember what they said they're advocating for, but we have children advocating for, we want children to get back to school. We want the government to end child marriage. So they are beginning to think. And then we have the business group, and then we have the business and innovation pitch group, and then we have the career group. So we have them talking about these things by themselves. And then what we did, we would just pull back a little bit and make these children counselors. So they're the ones teaching themselves. They're the ones going to research beyond what, I think, they're going beyond what we even set, the goals and targets that we set. So that's it. And then once in a while, we get in celebrities to just, come talk to them from their own point of view. Oh, this is what we do as celebrities. We are also reading. We are doing this. We're doing that. Just to encourage our children, to let them know that they're not alone. And then everybody should be doing this thing. If people around you are not doing it, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong. It just shows you that maybe they're not even aware or they're nonchalant, but you don't have to be like them. We have done it, and these are the successes that we have recorded, yes.
Wow. This is amazing, just listening to you.
And then, sorry, another thing we have is, we have that the children at the end of the whole, I think in the last week, we're going to be talking about why is sleep important.
Why is
sleep important? Okay. Why? Because now everybody's at home. So
when are they doing that?
It's in week 5. Okay. I think in 2 weeks' time.
I want to attend.
Oh, that would be nice.
I don't sleep like I should sleep.
That would be nice, Pastor. That would be. I don't teach you. So we have why is sleep important, and then what's the right time to go to bed, and then do we have storybooks that we can actually read to help us, have good night's sleep? What is the place of prayer before we go to bed? So we're also looking at that, and then we'll round it off with like a pajamas party. And then the last week, we're going to be talking about wearing the shoes of a president. We're going to be looking at wearing the shoes of a president. So you're going to come out as a president, talking to us as a president. What would you want to change? What would you want to see change? What would you do? And then at the end, they are going to be writing, the advocacy group are going to be writing to their congressman, which are the ones like in Canada or the ones in the US. So you're going to be writing to your congressman, telling him what you can add in the community to make your community a better place. And then the other one, you can write to your president, you can write to your governor, what you want to do, what is your own quota, what can you contribute, in your community. So we're also teaching them writing skills as well, with the help of their parents. Yes, so that's
you're doing a lot.
Thank you.
That's a lot.
Thank
wow,
you.
Well done.
Thank you,
well
Pastor.
done. So proud of you. That's amazing. I wish I was just a child now, so I would have been a part of this. So I missed, but then maybe someday when you graduate the class to people in the middle age,
then if I have the pressure to, why not?
I can be a part of that. Now, I'm going to ask you maybe your closing comments in a while, but then how can people reach you? People want to reach you. People want their children to be a part of this. People want to ask you more questions. They want to see what they can also contribute in whatever way they can support the One Fancy Teacher initiative, all that you do. How can people reach you?
Okay, well, you can check out my social media handles. On Instagram is at One Fancy Teacher. On Facebook is at One Fancy Teacher.
Okay, so you need to spell that for us. Of course, we're going to write that at the bottom of the screen. Okay. So we're going to put that up.
Just number one. Okay. One Fancy Teacher.
One word.
One word, yes.
Okay.
One Fancy Teacher. And on YouTube, I have a channel for young children where I just record different content for parents to help their children at home, young children in the nursery at home. So on YouTube is at One Fancy Teacher, and then on LinkedIn is at One Fancy Teacher as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to put all of that at the bottom of the screen, and please, I'd like you to contact her. And let's revive this culture. And this is an initiative. If I was in government, this is an initiative I would want to put a lot of muscle behind to make sure that this spreads and this is replicated. You know, yes, we are online. There are no boundaries, but then it's also be good to have physical places, or physical representation just all across the nation, so that we rebuild this to the Nigeria of our dreams. Begins today, you know, and it begins by investing in the minds of our children. You know, my mentor, Pastor Samadi, I mean, he put something on social media recently, and he said there's the story of a young man that took his father to the United States, and I don't know if it was United States, but a Western country, you know, and the father didn't say anything for 3 days. He just go,
Was
And then the boy eventually, Daddy, what is it? What is it? And then the third day, he finally spoke. He said, our people are suffering, but they don't even know the extent of their suffering, you know, because we can just be in this place, in this environment, and not know that the world is so vast. Yesterday I saw a word. I learned a word yesterday. I can't remember now. And I told my wife, sometimes I think I know, and then you see something that you never even heard. There's so much to know, so much to learn, so much to discover. That we can't just remain at this level, and reading takes us there. Somebody says, when you read, if I read an Albert Einstein's book, I'm rubbing minds with him. I begin to get to know what he knows, and that's what reading does. Reading will take you beyond. I don't care if your village is not on the map. When you have a book, you can be in the palace of the Queen in the United Kingdom. You can begin to think how Zuckerberg thinks. You can get into the mind of late Steve Jobs. You can become an Elon Musk, and why he comes up with all the things he comes up with. Your life can dramatically change. And so you can imagine if we are making such an investment at a national scale, on a national scale, you know, just investing that in the minds of people.
Like said, reading is another form of education.
It's education.
In fact, one of the best forms of education.
The best forms, because I've also seen people today who never went to the four walls of a school, but through books, they have just basically turned their lives around. That's amazing. It's been an empowering session, Precious. I wish you could do this over and over again. Thank you so very much.
Pastor.
Thank you so very much for coming. Any closing comments as we look at the
I would like to say, parents, I know we have books stuck somewhere in our homes. What I advise you to do is start dusting them. Start looking for them. Start digging them out from those bags, from those cartons. Dig them out, dust them, and then make beautiful and fancy libraries for your children in the home. That will also attract them to want to read. And try as much as possible to be consistent with reading for them. 20 minutes a day. You can start with 5. You can start with 5 minutes, then graduate to 20 minutes daily. It will make an amazing difference in the life of your children. And sometimes it might fall. Sometimes you might not meet up with every day, but hey.
You said something about incentivizing those reading, giving them targets, and maybe giving them an incentive.
You can give them. Once they can read a certain book at a certain level, you can reward them. You can applaud them, motivate them. I give my children gummy bears sometimes when they do well. When they finish reading, I give them gummy bears. I even go ahead and buy them chocolates just to make them happy and want to read. So why not give them stars? Give them stickers in school. I give them stickers in school. You give them stars. You celebrate them for meeting a milestone. And then for parents, be patient with them. It doesn't just come overnight. Be patient. It's a gradual process. It's a skill that needs to be honed. So take your time. Be patient with them. And and you just see the magic unfold.
Thank you very much, Precious. You've been of tremendous help to me personally. I'm going to go dust up some books and also my children. So I'm going to pay a little more attention to their reading because just also listening to your closing comment, I know that eventually it even helps such children in class. It helps their comprehension. They comprehend a little better, no matter what the subject is, because their mind has been widened, has been expanded, just by reading. Thank you for being a part of Safe Space with Pastor Wale Afelumo. I want to thank you, our viewers, for joining in and being a part of our Safe Space today. I know you always invest your data, and it's an investment that I believe is worth it. I really want to thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. See you in 2 weeks' time. God bless you. Remember, you matter to God. Bye.